still have like, what do you call it, cognitive dissonance. You know, one half of my brain sort of, sort of like an inner argument about, one part of me doesn't believe that it's actually happening, and I sort of know it's happening, but I have this protest going on, like, but uh, yeah, sometimes it just, I can't absorb it. It's just hard to believe, but we shouldn't even be using the word believe, but yeah, I have this inner argument within myself about it sometimes. uh,
Yeah, I mean, if you want confirmation, there's people out there that talk about it, like David Icke and the human sacrifices that go on, and other people too, I'm sure. If you need the confirmation, and it makes sense in a way to investigate and understand these things, because it'll get you out of your little comfort bubble. It's like, yeah, you're here, and the world controllers, they want to kill you. That's very real. So we're in the human farm, and just like a cattle farm, eventually the controllers of the farm are going to want to eat you or sell you to someone else that will eat you. So together we got to figure out how to close down the farm and let everybody out. Olga.
Hi, I just thought, hi everyone. I was just out watering the garden, and then I started singing New You You, and then I thought, oh, I better check on Skype. Don't see that, eh? And here we are. So that's what I do, sing the New You You. And watch and see what information comes up. It's very interesting today. I don't know what you guys were speaking about earlier, but I was watching the guy Max Igan from the Crow House this morning. He's got a new video out, and he's got a lot of people sending him information now about the fires here in Australia, and who's behind it. And he's actually putting out very good information. And I heard you mention earlier, Henry, about David Icke and his information. And one thing that is true, we live in a freedom choice, on a freedom choice planet. And so it's always our choice as to why these things are happening, and the agreements that we are making, even though people may not be able to see that it's our agreements with all these things that are happening. And these fires in Australia are horrendous, and the information that's coming through to this guy, Max Igan, in the Crow House on YouTube is really, really astounding on how, even the Prime Minister here in Australia, which I'm sure we all know, is, a Zionist. So I think there's a Zionist magazine. Anyway, if you watch this guy Max Igan's latest video, The Crow House, they put up all the information there, and how these Learjets are actually dropping these golf ball size fire starters, I'm going to call them, because I can't remember the name of them, but they're like golf ball size, and they drop them from these Learjets onto the already, chemically sprayed Australian bush that hasn't had any backburning for, in these particular areas, they find out that it's like the last 20 years. So with, the eucalyptus leaves and everything building up, and the forestries and the bush not being maintained like it was originally, over the last 20 years, it's just created a lot of, fodder for the fires to be so explosive the way that they are now. And they're actually showing on his latest YouTube video that, you know, these fires are exploding. Of course, we've probably all seen them by now, you know, 60 feet into the air. These flames are going, and they're burning white and golden yellow. So that's, you know, the aluminum and the I can't remember the technical names of the other things, but, you know, the sparkler dust that's accumulated on the forest floors and the bush for the last 20 years. And then them dropping, these are what everyone's calling these spot fires, or the media's labelling them spot fires. And he actually shows you, like in Nowra, which is a regional area of New South Wales. I think it's central New South Wales, actually. And the Lear jets that they have, there must be easy about 4 dozen of them. And they're also, while these fires are raging, they're also still doing their chemical spraying. So, you know, fueling the fires. And then I was watching very closely the other day some YouTube channels where, you know, they've got the army in there and the Air Force with their water bombing helicopters and airplanes. But if you actually look at it, at what they're doing, the water's not even hitting the fires. It's like they're just dropping them alongside the fires, you know. And he goes on to South Australia, which is really, really sad. I mean, all of it's really sad. And how Australia has the biggest lithium composites of lithium in South Australia, and this is why their theory is this is why they're burning South Australia the way, at the rate that they are, and it's burning right now as we speak, and it's horrific what's going on there. They're just burning the whole place out. I mean, they just got rid of a 25 million, you know, resort where the father and son both passed away, and I think that, you know, they died totally out of shock because they ran straight into the fires. And all because of this lithium. Now, you know, lithium is the stuff that they use for batteries, and these cars that they want to bring out are going to all be battery operated. And if we look at the 2030 agenda that these idiots have got, that they think they're going to implement, they're going to run on this lithium. Well, you know, the biggest battery manufacturer in the world is that Elon Musk, and he's situated in South Australia. It's just interesting, you know, that this was really brought up in this new YouTube video that he put out. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's all to do with our agreements and, you know, the way that we're living our lives. And basically, we just have to start saying no to stuff, you know, turn off the TV. And that's just the beginning. Stop using poisons on our gardens, and, you know, even the cars that we're driving, start rollerblading or riding push bikes and things like that, you know. I really like that guy Max Igan's idea of blowing the water dams, and you know, we've really got to start going back to nature and going back to how we used to live, you know, and just stop agreeing. And because, as Dwayne says, it's all cause and effect, creation, and people are agreeing to these things. And now they're pushing this climate change at an unbelievable rate. That, you know, if people keep watching TV, they're going to start believing it, just like they believed El Nino and La Nina. I think that was, what, early 2000s or the 90s, late 90s or something. They, you know, you don't even hear about that anymore. And now it's all, you know, climate change, and none of it's real. So it's all to do with our agreements and what we're each doing ourselves. And somehow, like you said, Henry, we've got to open the gate and let all the people out, you know, make them up. But the interesting thing with the guy in the Crow House, he said his YouTube channel has now increased 28,000 just in the last 10 days. So it's a really good opportunity to, you know, that people are waking up. But for us, with the new presentation, it'd be really, really nice to see a lot of people wake up all the way, you know, and not just part of the way. And that does take a lot of time too. And but, you know, without trying to convince people. So I just thought I'd share that. It was really interesting.
Yeah, Val and I were just listening to the same video. I myself fell asleep. It was a long car ride we were on. But yeah, I heard what you were saying. You just confirmed something for me about the way the fires are starting. He said it's different to the directed energy weapons they were doing in Paradise. But yeah, it's the barium, strontium, and aluminum, especially in the chemtrails, that makes the fire so easy to light. And yeah, you're right. The lithium is what they use in the batteries. Of course, it's not the only way to make batteries, but they don't really want things to be natural, because there's free energy technologies that have been around for hundreds of years that have been suppressed for hundreds of years. And yeah, we can run cars on other things, and one of the easiest things for people to do is to get a diesel car and convert it to run on vegetable oil, because you can get it for free from just about any restaurant that fries things. And you can get a filter, a really cool filter now, that you pour it from the straight through this one filter into your fuel tank, and it's ready to go. And then it burns clean. It doesn't pollute the environment at all. And other than that, yeah, people can ride their bicycles and start to form communities where they're at, in their zip code. Someone can grow potatoes, someone else can grow something else. Everybody can grow the majority of their own food and exchange the excess or give away the excess, and share things that make sense, like how to distill your water or purify your water with things like MMS. And yeah, people need to start to get together and support each other, because the government is not going to support them, not in the true sense at all. They're going to make a front as though they're supporting people, but realistically they're slowly killing people in many different ways. So yeah, time to wake up and pay attention and take responsibility for our own lives. So yeah, it's a real challenge to get that message through to people, because most people, yeah, they're happy to go along with the government's ideas. And just before you came on, Olga, I mentioned there's an Australian show called Clever Man on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen it, but I really recommend it, because it's a very good demonstration of what they're preparing people for. And the hairy peoples could be anyone that understands the natural environment. So yeah, we will be demonized and scrutinized. I'm sure anyone that supports the natural environment will be in the near future. Because why aren't we, using all these technologies the government is creating, So yeah, I was saying actually it would be great to create a website. I'd like to do this and find someone that can help me do it, that understands the technical aspects, because it seems kind of complicated to me. I only know how to make a very simple website, but I see it would be great to create a platform for people that want to create, communities, self-sufficient communities, and find other people that want to do so, or people that are already doing it that want people to join their communities. Say, you and Olga and Debbie, you could, create a page together on this website saying that you're two people in Queensland looking to create a self-sufficient community, looking to buy some land with other people, And
Brilliant. I think that's brilliant.
yeah, and then other people could see you, they could search, by state or whatever, and, by country, or however they want to search, and you guys could pop up and you could together communicate, and you could look for possible land. You could post links to places for sale, or there's also a lot of people out there with giant pieces of land, especially old people. I heard about this when I did my permaculture course in New Zealand, and these people with big pieces of land that are getting older, if someone approached them saying like, hey, I've got this wonderful vision to create something, and I don't have the money to purchase a big block of land, but would you be willing to donate, say 10 hectares or whatever, so that we can start doing this for lots of people, future generations or whatever. You keep asking people, someone's going to say yes. And so there's lots of ways to do it. And a lot of young people my age, I see them on the internet, they want to do it, but one person can't make it happen by themselves a lot of the time, but together it's possible. And I've seen that in Ecuador, there's an eco village that was started, and a bunch of people that were all wanted to, had similar ideas of living with permaculture and stuff, got together and they found some investors to buy the big pieces of land, like hundreds of hectares at a time, and then slowly they're selling off smaller sections to people, and they're creating a big community down there. So yeah, it's possible, and it would be really cool. Yeah. And also people could share across the platform their different ways of using satellite internet, free energy, clean water, all sorts of things. Yeah, and a lot of it's already been open source, different ways to do these things on websites like onecommunity.org. So yeah, we got to start doing these things. Yeah.
Put your money where your mouth is, what it's called. So yeah, I guess it's called stepping up as well. Quite interesting experience I had over the holiday break with my tensor rings. Actually, I took down I went over to see my cousin, and I'm making these water coils. Well, not water, they call them water, but they're actually for any type of fluid, because our bodies are made up of, as they say, like, around 76% water. And anyway, I took these coils down to my cousin because she let me stay a couple of days. I thought I'll give her 2 coils. She can use one for water and one for whatever else she might want to use it for. Put it under her pillowcase or whatever and sleep on it. And her husband came in, and he saw the coil sitting there on the bench. And he goes, whoa, where did this come from? And I just watched his face. And Dorothy said, oh, Olga gave it for us. And he goes, I haven't seen one of these since I was a kid. So that perked up my interest. And I said, oh, what did you use it for? He goes, oh, my father used it. We were dairy farmers. And for some reason, he said the cows wouldn't go into the milking shed. So the neighbour, he used to do dowsing, and he used to make coils and things like that. And I guess, out of copper. And he said, so he made a few of these, and he hung them around the shed in 3 corners. And below me down, he says, the cows just went straight into the shed and we could milk them. So that really gave me confirmation, as to what I was doing. Because a lot of people who are doing these tensor rings and coils and things, they're channeling a guy called Slim Sperling. Now, I know for a fact nothing is new under the sun, and is the same. So what I do is I ask the real guides for guidance when I'm making my tensor rings and things like that, because I don't want to be worshipping some entity I don't know, and I just don't want to be talking to those things. So I asked the real guides for guidance, and that for me gave me the confirmation, that I'm actually on the right track. So that was really cool. But since I've been back, I've been so in a lot of pain actually that I haven't even been able to make one yet. So I'm just coming right now, and it was just before I started singing the New You outside there. I thought, oh, it's probably because of the coil, the tensor rings, and now I know that I'm getting confirmation from the real guides of the all is, and so I'll continue with it. But yeah, the last couple of weeks I haven't even been able to touch them because I've been in so much pain. I've been struggling to go to work and just sitting down in the shop while people come in. And yeah, basically on my back I've been in so much pain. But yeah, I've worked through that, and I'm managing to sit up now. And it just came to me when I was outside as to, it's probably a little bit of attack.